Colton RV creates fantastic memories that will change your life forever. Have you dreamed of getting into glamping in your own RV? Colton RV can help you take that step into the future with a new or used RV. Talk with a Colton RV team member online, by phone, or in person and see hundreds of RVs, from tent trailers to motorhomes and everything in between. It's all about great selection, unequaled service, and low prices. Open late at 2 convenient locations, one in Tonawanda and one in Orchard Park, New York. Now is the time to see the future at Colton RV.
Want to take your camping to the next level? Then why not try glamping? Welcome to RV Glamping Adventures, where you can have a little glamour with your travel adventures. Please join your hosts, Neal and Kathy, as they share RV glamping information, RV park reviews, product recommendations, and so much more. Here's Neal and Kathy.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of RV Glamping Adventures with Neal and Kathy. I'm Neal.
And I'm Kathy.
Yes, you are.
I am. So we have kind of some interesting, exciting news to talk about this week. It's not even about planning our next vacation.
No.
We kind of are going through this thing in life where, you know, when you're kind of going along and you got plans and you think you're heading in one direction and then like life just sort of comes up and smacks you in the face.
Smacks you?
Well, in a good way though.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we got going on right now.
I mean, there's no crisis or anything.
No, absolutely no crisis.
No, it's all good.
We got an RV. Life's good. We're healthy. We're happy. But something that kind of came up, well, it's not like came up fast on us. I don't know if you guys recall, late last year we started talking about, I think, goals for 2000. So it was in 2015. We're talking about goals for 2016. And one of the goals is the direction we were heading in was we really wanted to start doing some research and spending some time looking into getting a diesel next. And, you know, upgrading it and traveling further and this whole thing. I
mean, because we have a Class A that's great.
We love it. And the Coachman Encounter
it's been great.
It's a 2013. It's running well. We have to keep on top. You know,
every trip you
go on, something
happens. And everybody
happens.
knows when you have something like that, you've got to keep on top of it. Because
it's a house on wheels.
And things break.
But it's, you know, it's a great model. We love it.
But what we were looking at is something we had kept in our minds, thinking something bigger than that.
You kind of feel like you're going to be going along, and you know we're in a gas model. Well, next for us is going to be the diesel.
Yeah, it's a natural progression for people.
However, in my mind, I started thinking in a bit of a different direction. Now, this is sort of how Neal knows me. He knows how I think. When we got into RVing in 2008, I'd already been thinking and researching, and I'm sure I talked about it a little bit at the time, but I'd already been doing a lot of research since about 2007. You know, how can we vacation differently and more, and yada, yada, yada. And that led to, on Mother's Day, what happened?
So I'm just going along in life, just doing my thing, and I wasn't thinking RVs, and she said, you know, it's Mother's Day. I'd love to go look at RVs. And we did.
Within 2 days, we had one.
Yeah. But the other part of it, then I found out after, is that she knew when we walked in, the make and model she was interested in, that it had bunks, that it had this, that, and the other thing, that you knew exactly what you were looking for.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but pretty much most decisions that happen in life, that's how I do it.
Well, and that's what, I mean...
It's not like I'm trying to be secretive, though.
Not at all.
I'm kind of mulling it over and researching and thinking, and then, boom. I just feel like sometimes, you know, when you for me, I feel like I kind of put that out there. You got to be careful what you ask for in the universe.
Absolutely.
But when you put that stuff out there, and then you got to watch what you get back in return. So I think that sometimes that's sort of what happens. I'll start thinking about something and researching it, and then it's like you plant a seed, and it's like go, 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 go. So yeah, it was late last year. We started talking about these goals and what we were looking forward to doing in this, you know, for 2016 travel. But then also always travel. But we were going to really start doing some research on, you know, we're in this gas model, Class A, and we've always enjoyed our upgrades and the glamping life. And so we're like, well, of course, the next natural thing for us is going to be...
It's got to be a diesel.
Right.
It's got to be a diesel.
And that's what we've been looking at, you know, and just wherever we go, we've sort of, in the last year, that's what we've been checking out, and we're drawn to that. Well, I think it was earlier this year then, in 2016, we did a show about, you know, what we'd be looking for in our next RV.
In our next RV, yep.
So we each made a list prior to the show, and this was like, I think around April. I know I did a blog.
Yeah.
I have a blog from April that usually they follow up our shows. So we just did a whole checklist of like, what is the perfect thing that we're going to be looking for? Because we've had a few, so come on, how many more of these do we
went
need?
back and forth, and we're hitting, this is good for us, and this is good for us, and this is why. We had a whole thing going back and forth.
Yeah.
And I think it was really, personally, a very well thought out.
Yeah, so
show.
That's something that, really put that on ice since April, because then the vacations had already started. We went on one in March. But, a lot of our research has been happening throughout the year. We go to whatever shows we can go, the
absolutely.
RV shows that come to town or that the local dealers put on. We're always going to shows. We love to look and do research, and we're just, I don't know. I think once you get into RVing, everybody that's at those shows, we talked to some people at a couple of the shows we're at, they all have an RV that they love and they're happy with, but we're always out there looking at what's new and coming out next.
Yep.
So, I don't know. It's fun.
Most people, I think, at least 70% of them who go to shows have an RV.
Yeah.
And then the other 30% are just looking at RVs, wanting to get in RVs, and thinking about it. So,
but I think the majority of people going to these shows are avid RVers and just are passionate about it like we are.
Yeah.
So that just sort of started a whole thing for me. So I've been, we've been vacationing, we've been sharing all that with you guys, trying to inspire you. And I've been just doing my thing, the Kathy thing of thinking. And
it's hard to be Kathy some days.
Oh, God, you got to see the smoke that comes out of my ears. But I really started realizing that some of what we're looking at here, a lot of where we've been sort of heading towards is, more of a residential feel for the RV. So it really got me thinking very seriously. And I've thought about it in the past, and we just keep going back into the motorhome lifestyle, which has been great. And we love what we have. We really do.
Really, we were looking to make it like a true home away from home. A true home,
because we're going to be traveling more, full-timing more. So the fifth wheels are the direction that I suddenly started thinking about.
Yeah, that was...
And that's just sort of how my brain works. Yeah, and we've talked about a little bit, but something I look at the list that we were talking about, and we'll go over that again, in a minute, just to... You guys can see where, like, sometimes it's like right in front of your face. This is what you're supposed to be doing next. But you got to go through the motions to figure out, it's supposed to be this.
You do.
So, like, we've been on trips, and that's where we do a lot of our research. Or, I don't know.
She calls it stalking.
Well, I don't call it stalking.
No, you don't. What do you call it?
I call it being nosy and looking at what everybody else has.
Yeah, because I think stalking is when you go back to the same one over and over.
I want to see what everybody's driving, what they have, what's in it, what does it look like, how did they fix it up. No,
how do they glam?
I'm just nosy. That's the bottom line. I love seeing what they have going on outside, how they set up their whole thing. And the one thing, especially when we were in Maine, on our last trip, that I love looking at was some of the seasonal sites, because people really that's their summer home. And there was something about, I am not done traveling, like, don't get me wrong. Neal and we've
got many years of it.
We got Alaska, we got West Coast, we've got so much more to do, Canada. But, I love the idea of having something that we could just park at. Yeah. So I started talking to Neal in the last, I don't know, what's it been, about 2-3 weeks now. Yeah. Hey, what do you think about... what do you think about a fifth wheel? Like, that's not something we thought about.
And I said, I haven't really thought of one.
No, you didn't. Neal's answered everything right away is, no, I like what I have. But, it's a timing thing, too. Because what's brought this about is, like, we've been looking, and I'm doing my research. I'm looking online. I follow a few different sites on... between Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and there's some fifth wheel companies that I'm looking at what they have, and I'm going, wow. And, you can get a lot of bang for your buck. I mean, for not a lot of money, you can get something pretty wow.
Or for not as much money as it would cost you getting to do a luxury diesel.
Well, that's what I was looking at. You get into RVing. We've already had a few. You don't want to get too turned around. We're a little turned around, but not too bad. How much more do you want to get turned around? And by that I mean, when you keep upgrading and you keep dragging what you owe into the next model and the next model. I've seen some people get really turned around and in some financial issues over that. And Neal and I are not about that. We try to be financially and budget conscious. So, we just started really doing some research then in the last few weeks. And Neal started to kind of see, this is how it kind of goes with us. I'll be like, hey, I've been researching some stuff. Come and check this out. And then he's like, no. And then, because right away it's no. And then I just go, okay, I'm going to let that cook for a minute. And then
You know me so well.
I know. You start seeing the sense in it, you know, because it makes sense. I don't think, like, I'm kind of methodical about how I think about things, and it's got to be practical, it's got to make sense. And I just started looking at some of these fifth wheels coming out, and I always like last year's model. Right. There's no reason you got to get, the 2017s are coming out, so there's like a timing thing for me right now. And
also we lease a car.
Right, so that's what I was going to say with the timing issue. We have a lease coming up on one of the cars. Is this a good time? That's what I was saying to Neal. I'm like, is this a good time that we need to go, you know, we're about to have the opportunity that we're going to be out of a lease. Should we be getting into a truck? Is this a good idea? Will we like it? So that's when you go, you know what? We just got to go find out. I don't know if the numbers make sense. We didn't know anything. We just know, hey, this makes sense to us. You know, like these fifth wheels. Some of them could really work with some of the things we've been looking at. So, you know, but it takes you a minute to kind of see like, oh.
Yeah.
And then he'll even go to, well, they won't have that kind that we're going to need at the...
It's not going to work.
Nothing's going to work. Yeah, he's just full of optimism.
I am actually usually in life.
You are an optimistic person, but when it comes to like...
Change.
Yeah, change. It's change. Maybe it's change.
See, let me explain this. I've been going along... Yes,
I would like to understand
I'm going to try.
Because for 17 years, I've been dealing. So explain it to me.
Pretty much with everything that we're doing, I get set on a direction. And I'm a bit of a juggernaut when it comes to that. I'll be like... Juggernaut.
Who uses that word? Where did you even get that? Juggernaut?
It's a character in the comic
You've been reading too. Okay.
Anyways.
You got to read some other books.
Anyways.
Without pictures.
Never mind. So I'm a bit of a juggernaut, for a better word, because I can't think of it. But you put me in a direction, and I'm going to go in that direction 100%.
I know.
And if you tell me you got to do this, it's 100%. And I'm going to do it till it's done.
And I love that enthusiasm.
And it's going to be done well, and we're going to plan on this, and we're going to do it. So...
God forbid
the last year
an obstacle or a new choice comes up.
I can't do it.
He just freezes.
And then I wait. I simmer. There's a lot of discussion and
I
therapy.
Think
There's some therapy. And then I go ahead and I rethink.
Luckily, I was a social worker for years.
I have a therapist.
I know how to deal with it. No, Neal just needs some time to absorb things.
So I was on my mind. We're going to go. We're going diesel. Every now and then, if I'm bored or at a park or something, I pull up the diesels and I start looking at different models that will check boxes and this and that for me.
On your phone?
On my phone.
Because I'm wondering where you're pulling them up.
Never mind. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So, but I go ahead and I just look. So I've got this in my mind. Diesel, diesel, diesel. I'm looking. This is where we're going. I get to know types, layouts, floor plans, all sorts of things.
Any woman out there that's listening to this totally gets me.
I hope I'm not alone, guys.
And there's a lot of guys that you guys got to write us. There's a lot of guys out there that are just like, no, I totally get Neal and Kathy's crazy. So I think that everybody can identify with this stuff.
So then I'm in my focus, and I'm focused, and this is what we're doing.
Let me call it tunnel vision. You're in your tunnel vision.
Okay. You can call it that. I'm myopic. That's another word.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm trying to sound smart because I use
You're
comic
using
book
a lot
references.
Of crazy words.
But I use comic book references, so you got to. So
wow.
I'm going
Juggernaut
ahead.
And myopic.
And I'm going ahead.
Does that just mean you have one eye in the middle of your forehead?
That's a cyclops.
Cyclops. Okay.
So I'm going ahead, and I'm planning on the diesel, and then out of nowhere, boom! I'm hit with fifth wheel, and it's like, nah, I can't handle the change. But I got to tell you, when I stewed on it, it's a great idea.
Oh, you don't even know. It's exhausting. And it's brought up like, I don't go, here's what we got to do next. I'm like, you know what, Neal? I've been thinking. And it's really, like, I'm really open to this is like, you know how opposites attract, and we balance each other out. But Neal does. He gets very tunnel vision, and I'm very directed in my thought, but I'll think about, what's the most practical, best case scenario here? I do our money, and I run the business end of things, and Neal just like takes care of people. He's a great doctor.
You're able to see multiple scenarios.
I multitask, and I'm always looking ahead and planning and thinking a lot of different scenarios. So
I do one thing, I do it very well, and then I move on to the next.
That is all.
That's how I work.
I try to do multiple things very well, and so it works. It's a good balance, but it's something with the fifth wheel and it all started, I think, from, well, you know, we talk about it in our show, but then I go back and I write about it. So then I'm probably processing it even more because I'm writing about what we talked about. So, and all the ins and outs. And so I'm coming up with this list that we came up with, and I'm writing it on the blog at www.rvglampingadventures.com if you want to read any of our blogs.
Fantastic. Her blogs are great.
Anyway.
They really are.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
I mean, I put a lot of thought into them. So if anybody reads them, I always am thrilled to hear any feedback. So, we go through this whole list, and I go through it even more as I'm writing it out, and I'm like, this might not exist. All these things that we're looking at might not exist.
Yeah.
And not that I think anything should be the perfect scenario, but I think you should try to check off as many boxes as you can.
Yes.
So then we go on all these vacations, and I'm looking around because we're being nosy and looking at everybody's stuff. I'm not stalking.
No stalking. No.
But I'm looking at everybody's stuff, and I'm going, what I'm seeing here is if we're heading in a direction of wanting to be in that RV more, and we want to go more residential, and we know people that have all different kinds of RVs, maybe what we need to be looking at is this fifth wheel. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to pull up, because Neal hasn't even gone over this list yet.
No, I forgot totally what this list was
what
about.
we were looking for. Now, some stuff is very, if we were in a diesel, this is what we would want. So one of the first thing we did like inside, outside. So the outside list, and let's just go through this, Neal, and just sort of talk about because we haven't signed any papers.
No.
Nothing. Okay,
we'll get to that.
We'll get to where we're at. Let's talk about sort of, this is what's leading us in the direction of a fifth wheel.
Okay.
So on the outside, when we were looking into diesel, one of the things you wanted was a tag axle.
I did.
Well, that's not something that will be in a fifth wheel. So
correct.
That being said, that's a non-issue.
But actually, if you think about it, technically,
there
is those two wheels in the back that are tagged. They work in tandem, and they hold a lot of weight, and yeah, that's a bit of a tag. I didn't think of that. That's genius. All right.
Okay, so, all right, maybe we can check that box.
Check. We could check.
Okay, next one, leveler.
There you go.
They have it.
They have levelers.
On the fifth wheel.
Some of them have 6 of them. Our RV, our motorhome, a Class A, has 2 levelers.
Right.
And I think in some of the fifth wheels, they go to 6 levelers.
Okay.
I'm not saying 4 levelers.
4 levelers.
And now they go to 6.
Okay, so also check. Also on the outside, TV entertainment system. Most fifth wheels have this.
A lot do.
Maybe check, maybe not check.
Maybe not, yeah.
I could live or
it doesn't really matter to me.
With that.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Actually, just an aside, when we thought about that, it was actually because Ian will camp with us, and then he was like, I'd love to have something to watch outside, but we go down to places like Florida, and anybody who's out there, there's bugs at night, and bugs are attracted to lights. So, can you imagine what the TV would look like? You just have critters.
People sit out there all the time.
Oh, I know.
So they like that. For us, it's never been. I'd rather sit in front of a campfire or something.
Yeah,
so that's for me. But we put it on the list if we're going for the gusto.
Yeah, it wasn't really my idea.
Okay, what else did we want on the outside? 3 to 4 slides, or one full wall on one side.
Yes.
Slide out. So 3 to 4 slides. Check. Gloss finish.
Check.
Awning with LED lights.
Check.
We'll get into the model we're talking about, but
check.
I'm seriously. Yeah. Okay, so check.
Wow.
Outside cooler and storage bay. Again, give and take.
Yeah.
To me, that's
Yeah.
It's for me, it's more important on the inside. We'll get to that in a second. Enormous amounts of storage underneath.
Check.
Yeah. Easily accessible fuel tank. Not an issue. But I'll tell you what hit my box check for that was the propane.
Right.
We typically have to, take in there's a moth flying around. Don't worry, Neal. You just caught it. Wow, that was so stealth. Oh, maybe not. Anyway, if you got to focus, Neal.
I'm focused.
When we were looking at the fifth wheels, they have the propane tanks that are removable.
Right.
So you don't have to we'd have to take our whole vehicle to a dealer.
Absolutely,
fill up
always.
the propane. Now we can just go anywhere and take care of that.
That's kind of a nice thing.
That'd
be a nice thing.
So that's check in that realm. Door up front by passenger seat. And the reason we were looking for that is to give us more living space. So to me, this was more of there's no driver's seats, or passenger seats,
and it was going for more of the residential feel.
And no matter what you do, and I love a gas and a diesel. I'm not saying anything against anybody that owns that.
Love them.
But you turn them around, there's still a steering wheel. It still feels like you're in a motorhome.
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't have that. It's homey, but it doesn't feel like It's a drivable vehicle.
Right. It's not a separate.
So to me, that's like, check, we still have a lot more space.
Correct.
It's differently used space. Rear bumper rock guards. I don't know where we stand on that one.
Well, it doesn't matter because you don't have to, because you're not. What I think the rear bumper rock guards were to protect the tow vehicle.
Right.
And there's no tow vehicle on a.
Right.
Yeah.
So, taken care of. Dual pane windows. What I noticed in this model, the windows are about the same as what we had, because I did ask about this. When we've traveled before in colder climates, in the motorhome we have now, which is Coachman Encounter, they are not as well insulated as the fifth wheels are. This particular one is enormously...
You mean the bodies of them?
The body of it.
Yeah, I agree.
So we would try to go away in early spring. It can hit 40 degrees.
Yeah.
It was freezing. And it seems like that's been addressed. Like the insulation is taken care of. And the fifth wheel, far better than there isn't any.
And then also...
It's a thin wall.
When you're in the summertime, the air conditioner is going to run all the time no matter what. But
it's insulated.
It's insulated, so maybe it will keep the heat out more.
And the 8,000 watt generator, well, talk to them about what we're seeing now. This is new to us with the fifth wheel.
What we're looking at is the fifth wheel that we're looking at does not have a generator with it. So it has no generator. So that's
works off of the truck that it's attached to.
Yeah, it charges the batteries, and actually for us,
it basically charges the house battery. So there's not a need to do that.
We're not really dry campers anyways.
No, that would be important. I'm sure you can always add on.
Much.
Yeah, there was a great compartment if you wanted to add on for a generator.
There's room for it.
So there's options for that, and I would never say I'm never going to boondock, because who knows?
Right, but we don't.
I never thought I would be interested in a fifth wheel.
Yeah.
Not saying anything bad about it. I just didn't think that was the direction we're going in it. Okay, so that ticked off a lot of boxes,
that was
right?
A lot, and that's just the outside, right?
So inside, we were looking at residential refrigerator.
Check.
That has we have that now in the gas model we have. I like the freezer even better because it was more of a trunk style versus this drawer thing.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
It's really hard for me to load up lots of food in the freezer right now because it's just a weird use of space in the freezer I have in the RV we have right now. Convection oven, check.
I mean, that's becoming standard.
Yeah. Solid surface countertops, check. What I also love about the model, and there's a lot of the fifth wheel models that have this, but we were looking at one that has an island. Yeah. And that just provides, and double sinks, and it just provides for a whole other, just preparing the food experience.
The storage, just kitchen related, is fantastic.
It's
and
ridiculous.
I think in a lot of fifth wheels, and all you guys who do have fifth wheels, you know this.
You're all sitting there going, duh. But,
this is why we do this.
We sort of had steered away from it in the past because how do you fit all these kids into a truck? And we love the option of when you're driving. I mean, that would be the one thing we're going to miss for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Is we're not going to be able to just run to the bathroom. You can lay out. I mean, there's dangerous issues to this though.
Correct.
I feel like traveling will be safer. Now, we have to think about a few other factors we could talk about, with tire pressure and things like that, to make sure we don't have blowouts.
Right.
Things that maybe you deal a little bit more with fifth wheels. Another thing we talked about, basically, I don't even know why we wrote this down, 3-burn cooktop. Yeah, whatever. We all have that.
Let's see.
Compartmentalized kitchen and seating area, i.e. kitchen up front, seating area behind, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. A lot of motorhomes are kind of combined, and you'd be watching the TV that's across the kitchen and it's down by the dinette and you're sitting at the other end. It's just a weird configuration.
It's pretty weird.
In what we have now and what we've seen. And even diesels we were looking at. I couldn't find the perfect model.
I found a couple of diesels that had that changed over area where the kitchen was up front and the living space was in the middle. But you're still, there was still a TV over the drivers.
You lose room with the driver's seat, passenger seat, the door. And there was just some issues there that you kind of lose out on. But, to me it makes a lot of sense anyway. It's just being in a fifth wheel, it's just far more residential. It definitely has an apartment feel.
Totally.
What else did we have here? TV and sitting area. So again, very compartmentalized. That's what we're seeing. We were thinking getting into the diesel that we wanted to steer away from the bunk model. The kids some of them are 6'4", 6'1". Our daughter's even 5'7". Bunks, they don't fit them.
No, they wake up. The ones that now are in the bunks wake up and they're like, ugh. I'm so sore because I'm cramped.
Yeah.
Or,
So the model we're looking at for the fifth wheel, we'll talk about in a second, has just a whole cool.
It's got a great
we'll get
sleeping
into
arrangement.
Crazy good for us and moving forward. I'm trying to think like 5 to 7 years out, and it really addresses a lot of that too. We were also looking for a different dinette situation. You know, the typical dinette, the 4 benches, or two people could sit on each side in this bench thing and be squished, and the table's weird and high or low, and because it could also be a bed, and it just didn't really work for us. So we were looking for something different. And again, this model we're looking at addresses that.
It totally addresses it.
What else? We were talking about lots of storage. Well, I mean, that goes without saying. For the inside, this thing has a pantry. It has the island, so there's additional space underneath. The prep area is great. The amount of closet space, there's like a walk-in closet in the master bedroom. A
fantastic amount of space in the closet.
There's a washer-dryer hookup if we so choose. You know, and I got mixed feelings about that because I've heard a lot of mixed things. I'd love to hear back from you guys about
if you guys have an opinion
if that's worth doing. I hear the machines are so small and it takes a long time. And I gotta say, Neal and I are used to this, taking our laundry for 5-6 people to the campground site, getting 5 machines and having your laundry done.
Bang it out and be done in 2 hours.
Yeah.
But
but I'd like to hear back from you guys on what you think about that.
I mean, the prep that they have in this particular one is an all-in-one washer dryer.
Right.
So it's not like there's the washer and the dryer. It's an all-in-one.
So lots of storage for food in the kitchen and clothing in the back. Again, that's totally addressed.
Crazy.
Light and bright modern colors for decor. This is what I wrote. We don't need it to look like Vegas, if you know what we mean. And this is done, well, they kind of called it, how did they word it? It's done...
The sales rep told us, this particular company, it's a very masculine RV with feminine touches.
And I would just say it's very well thought. It's one of the best thought out layouts I've seen. And again, to us, I mean, maybe there's a lot of models before this in fifth wheels, but for us who've been into motorhomes, this just we're like, wow.
Yeah, this
just is laid out very practically. There's a good seating area for up to 5 people to watch TV. The sleeping arrangements are great. The bathroom's set up. It's even as little things I look for specific things when I was walking through the model. I was looking at, where are the plugs?
Yeah.
Where do I put the coffee maker?
Yep.
Does that make sense that I would put it there, and is there a plug next to it? There's often been for us not enough plugs.
Yeah.
And this everywhere in the kitchen, the bathroom, bedrooms, there's 2 and this one, and then we'll get to the other details of it. It's kind of neat. But every little detail that if I've been in our motorhome now that I thought, I wish there was a plug here, I wish there was that or this or that, it had it all. This was this particular one that we'll mention soon, because I think I want to say it soon. It's very is incredibly well thought out. Yeah.
I mean,
the colors are still
they're
beige
neutral.
And brown.
They're neutral.
They're neutral. The flooring is gorgeous. It sort of has that thicker kind of wood slate. What do you call that?
It's like a linoleum, but it's different. It's like Congolium or something it's called.
Yeah, it's just all a nice,
color.
Updated.
And the couches...
It doesn't look like the walls have been sponge painted.
The couches are incredibly soft leather. It's very high-end features.
Usually I don't like the window finishings.
Yeah, they're nice.
The window drapes, all that. They're great.
Nice.
They're not bad at all.
I was thinking about this too, and this is going to get off subject because I like to do that. But you and I, in the last couple of years, between going to places like when we've gone to Shirkston and they have cottages and they have them there that you can go look, and when we can go to RV shows and they have the residentials.
Yeah.
This is like that.
It has that feel.
Yeah. It
Modern,
totally makes you feel
light.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciated that about it. The other thing that was important to us, like I mentioned, was a larger bathroom. Even the stupid thing for me, as when you go in the shower, that it has a stool. So I don't need to sit down. It's more like for us women, we need to shave our legs. It's tall. It's larger.
Tell me about it, sister.
Yeah.
I feel you.
It has one of those great glass bowl. I've always wanted the glass bowl vessels. It's really nicely done.
Even the faucets are they're built into the wall. They look
it's
nice.
Classy. It's nice. The washer dryer hookup was another thing we talked about, so that's there if we need it. Walk around space around the bed in the bedroom, because I hate when you just sort of walk back, boom, there's the bed, nothing else.
Yeah.
This even has beyond the walk-in closet and walk around space. It's not enormous around the bed, but it's
not big.
a couple feet around. It's great because it's a king-size bed.
Yeah.
But it also has like a proper dresser.
Has a
and
proper
it's not
dresser.
just this whole, like, it's so well done.
It's not just a wardrobe. It's got a proper dresser with and a headboard.
And that was the last thing that's mentioned on here. We talked about a headboard.
Hey.
Not only does it have a headboard, but way above the headboard is just a little wee window up to give some natural. And that's the other thing that I loved about the fifth wheels that you just don't get in the motorhomes is the number of windows.
Yeah, there's a lot of natural light.
For those of us that are gawkers at the RV parks, you would know that. But, in the motorhomes, it's a little darker and a heavier feel to it. So I really appreciated all the natural light.
Yeah, it's
all
just
the lights,
bright and airy.
all the lights in there were LED, every single one of them.
Yeah.
So that will,
it keeps down on the heat, but it also keeps down on the amount of usage.
It also keeps down on me touching them and burning my fingers because I tend to do that.
Yeah,
don't ask.
I'm going to tell.
It's a whole. No, it's
oh,
a boring, silly
it's not
story.
Boring. It was
I
awful.
touched it. I shouldn't have. I thought it was one of those press lights. And it wasn't, and I got a second, almost third-degree burn. There,
but
I told the story.
You did it.
Boring.
And we learned about burn gel.
Yes, burn gel's a wonderful thing to have.
I thought she was so sad. I felt so bad.
Oh yes, the trials and tribulations of Kathy. Anyway, so why don't we get to what we're looking at?
We are looking at the Grand Design is the name of the company. The Solitude 377 MB. And I actually think it's the R package or the residential package.
Now, people, you might be asking, why did you choose that? Well, like we just went over the whole list, it checked off a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
And, we started off, I've been doing a lot of looking online at different places, but one thing we've talked about a lot in the past shows have been about, people have written us and said, would you recommend going out of state to buy an RV to get a better price? Or what do you think about buying local? For us, it always comes down to, we're all about buying local.
Oh yeah, and it's relationships too.
It's all about relationships. Yeah. It's, when you have a problem with your motorhome, I'm sorry, but you're going to have someone who cares a lot more that lives 10, 20 minutes away from your house, and you bought it from them. They're going to care a lot more about getting you service and getting in there and helping you and fixing the problem, even if it's a factory issue. They're going to care more than if you're 7 hours away. They'll be like, oh, well, good luck with that. I mean, I'm sure they've got some great help out there, but it's all about relationships. And, the service, that's tied in for us with the dealer that we deal with, Colton RV.
Colton RV's been great.
They've been great for us. And that's, again, about developing relationships and all that. So really, when I got looking seriously in the last couple weeks, I started there. Yeah. I looked around at what other people were pricing, and I wanted to see, well, what does it cost here? And let's see what, our dealer's looking to do. So the other aspect, and I forget if I mentioned this already, so forgive me if I have, is, like I think I said before, our lease was coming up.
Right.
So we have to think about...
Our lease on our car.
The lease on the car. So we need to think about the truck. What's going to haul it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to think about. It was very overwhelming. That's when I started going, Neal, we got to talk. I got a lot on my mind.
We had a nice conversation, and then...
I think I got you on board.
I got on board.
It's like when we moved from our house to the condo, Neal looked at me very okay, whatever. And I say, let's just go look at the condo.
Yeah.
And then Neal walks in the condo.
Oh my
and
God, you played me again.
I played you, man. I played you like a fine...
Wine. No, you don't play wine.
But, you got to walk in it. And I had to, say, let's go. I want to feel it. I want to see if it feels right.
Yeah.
Because you could walk in there and go, no way, this is too small. It's too big. I'm not comfortable with it.
So I made an appointment to go and talk to our friend over at Colton RV, Steve, because I trust Steve. Yeah. And Steve will tell us.
Again, relationships.
It's relationships. And we've talked to them for a while. He'll tell us if it's good or not good. And he'll talk with Jim, and they'll figure out what works best for us. Jim's the owner. So we went to Colton RV.
Here's the funny thing is, this was all my idea, and then I had an appointment.
Yeah,
so
she had to go somewhere.
I sent Olivia in my
Where'd you
place.
Go?
I went and got my hair done.
Yay!
I had to get my roots did.
So
I sent Olivia.
Fantastic,
I sent Olivia in my place,
it's and because
then I know,
okay,
she's got me.
Yeah.
Because she's going to do right by me and send me pictures and all of that. So I'm getting my hair done, and I'm getting picture after picture. Because we've trained these kids well.
Yeah,
they love
they
RV.
know what to look at.
They know what to look at. So I'm getting like, look at the storage, Mom. Look at the this. Look at the that. It was hysterical.
So I went in, I talked to Steve. Steve ran some numbers for us and gave us some options. And then we went and we looked at the fifth wheel that was actually in the showroom, but that's the one we actually wanted to go look at.
What's so crazy is the one we were interested in was the one in the showroom.
So Olivia and I spent 20 minutes in it while Steve was running numbers, and he had a sales guy come over.
Yeah, we wanted to start off by, we also did a lot of pre-research looking at reviews online and stuff. We had to look into, I don't know anything about Grand Design.
I went and looked at Grand Design, and I found a lot of really, really positive reviews on them. Grand Design is, the owners started, they used to work at Keystone, I think it is, RV, and they did a lot of fifth wheels. And then they went ahead and they went in a different direction. So they went and opened up their own place, and they are very, very proud, I think is a good word, owners, and very involved. So they actually have a Facebook page and a website that's the Grand Design owners page. So not they owners, but the people who buy them owners. And if you make a comment on there, the owners themselves or the marketing VPs and all these people will still get involved and talk to you personally about what's going on.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because that just shows... they're going to help build loyalty that way, and they care. They actually care. I don't think I've seen anything quite like that before.
I mean, the construction, from the reviews I read, the construction was very, very good, and this is just from the reviews. And then when I went in and I talked to Steve and this guy, the sales rep Aaron, they went through the whole thing with me and broke it down.
Yeah, before we got Neal and I can very easily, we go with our gut and our feeling. Like we do our research. But it's got to feel like our decisions get made on does it feel right?
Right.
And then we can get really invested in it because we can see ourselves in something. But I didn't want to get too invested till I knew, do the numbers make sense? Because again, it's about timing. What's this going to cost? How much are they going to want down? Again, you don't want to get too turned around here. We're trading in a model we've only had for 3.5 years. What do we owe on it? What's the bank going to accept? We know where we're comfortable being. And, I'm happy with sort of the payment we make right now between the RV and the car lease. That's where I want to be. And so we just went in there and we said, Neal and I had talked before about this is going to be the bottom line.
These are the numbers.
Here's the numbers that we can produce and that we're comfortable at. And, before I even start, I don't even want to get invested in it emotionally. I need to just do that for myself because then I'll be, the thing at the end of the day, Neal and I have a great thing.
We have a great thing.
We love our encounter.
Yeah. And
we're just trying to make a good
decision
decision going forward financially. And for, let's face it, an RV isn't something you have to have. It's something you want to have.
It is a want.
So we have something great. But, in looking at the pricing of, for what we want, you can get so much more for less money.
I mean, for us to go to the diesel, we'd have to have a car, so there's a car payment. And then also, a diesel was going to cost us $50,000-$60,000 more than what we already have.
Yeah, it was going to take us in a situation financially, and going forward, I'm all about keeping our overhead low. It just seemed that we were going to get really turned around the wrong way. The more that, and that's why you got to take time and investigate. But the more we spent time looking into the diesel and heading down further and further down that path, I mean, it was looking like we were going to have to put a whole bunch more money down than we were comfortable doing. And it was going to bring the RV payment up way more than I think we should be.
And with the car payment as well, that raises it up high.
And the car payment, because you need a car.
You need a car.
So this goes back now when you come back to where does Kathy's brain work from? This comes back to you can get into a really fine RV for half the money of a diesel. You can get all the bells and whistles that we're looking for. Yes, you pay a little bit more with the truck than you would in a car payment, of course. But, at the end of the day, you could still end up on top because here's what happened with the money. So you guys got talking. You said, here's the bottom line.
This
and
is totally the bottom line. He went through, ran some numbers, and then, at the time, I'm also one of those guys that's like, well, then I also have another person I have to talk to about buying a new truck because that's something that would be... I've had experiences buying used vehicles before, and they were not positive. So I was like, I've got to get a new truck. But to get a new truck, we're talking at least to pull something like this is at least an F350 or a 3500.
So you're talking over $50,000 for a vehicle.
Easy,
Huge
easy.
payment. So luckily they have. I mean, they've got a lot of other things on the lot besides just RV, and they had a bunch of pickups that were gently used.
And they had one that was just came in. That was the only one was a 350, a Ford F350 that was 2015, so it's a year old.
It even matches the
RV,
the fifth wheel.
Yeah.
So and we got in it. It certainly. I mean. That changes, and it's diesel. Yeah, it changes again our travel experience. But as far as the kids love to go lie out and be able to get food, and it's kind of going back to when we used to have to like drive in the minivan on the way down.
Right.
But this thing has tons of room, like 6 people could sit in it. So again, sometimes there's 3 of us on a trip, sometimes there's 5. Ian now will fly in places because he's down in Florida.
Yeah, just meet us somewhere.
That's going to continue to change for Mitchell moving forward. Like this is the thing, I'm trying to think ahead.
Yeah, this is a big one.
We're going through massive. A lot of you guys know this. We talk about on Facebook. I get messages from you. You get it. You see where we're at. Some of you are with us. Other ones have gone through it already and understand. And we got to think differently. And I'm even though this size, we talk about our condo being right sizing. This is sort of right sizing for the RV too, because Neal and I want to kind of live in it someday.
Yeah.
So whether it be our summer home eventually, the kids can come visit there or whatever, it seemed to open up a lot of doors of different opportunities.
And one thing that with the fifth wheel, and I think Kathy mentioned this earlier, is like when we're done traveling, because I know sometimes everybody gets that part. I've been going all over the place. I've traveled with this thing a ton, and I'm done. Well, for us, we can take the fifth wheel and put it in a seasonal lot, and that's our summer place.
I kind of like that.
And we've seen a lot of them that look really nice.
I could imagine doing it for like a couple weeks. Let's put it so and so. But, because we've still got the travel bug and we want to keep, and, but that might be a time when, okay, that's our summer home and we're going to Europe. I don't know.
That could be, yeah.
The world is our oyster, Neal. We don't know what we're going to do.
I mean, there's a lot of beaches around here I wouldn't mind parking it at, so.
But basically, so between a couple days of going back and forth to the RV and sitting, the dealership, I should say, and sitting down with the finance guy, Benoit, who's great over there, and looking at the numbers, and he was totally, we're like, here's where we're at. It's going to save us money.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to save us money every month in that they're also including some warranty stuff. We'd be getting back into CoachNet again, which is a great service.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of things.
A lot of positives.
That, we're going to look at. So rather than going through another dealership to get the truck, we're going to throw all this together and see, So we're at a place that, honestly, guys, we don't even know.
We don't know.
We are waiting. Today, it got presented to the bank and to see what happens. I mean, this totally just came out. This is so us.
This is totally us.
Gosh, can't we just research something that then... It just doesn't work like that for us. We want to do something, we want to research it, and then boom, something kind of cool comes along our way.
The research part for us happens quickly. Like
yes
I know,
and no. I mean,
I know
I feel
a lot
like
about this
looking.
model. You've been looking for a little while,
okay,
and I know a lot about this model in like a day. I researched the heck out of everything.
You catch up,
and I actually know a lot about Ford F350s at this moment. So I feel pretty good. I think the one thing that's going to change for us is...
we also get the kids we don't even have to ask the kids.
Yeah,
Connor already went off, started researching, and we need
they're
this,
the
and we
same.
need that. Olivia's got down on what she thinks needs to happen, and they all get involved, so it's kind of cool. But we're in this point right now. We're just waiting to see. The terms have to be right for us.
It's all got to be what we need.
They could come back and say, you know what? No, we want this much more down. We want this, and you guys, this is what you got to know when you're going into it. You got to know what your bottom line is, and you got to stick to it. There's a lot of negotiations that should be happening. What else can they throw in? Hey, here's where we're happy. Here's what you could talk to us about. What more can for us? It's like, this is the number I want to pay. Tell me what you can give me for that.
Right.
How much? Give me as much as you can for this amount of money. And they'll work for it. They want the sale.
Well, and I also think
it's the end of year. New models are coming.
I think this dealership, in our relationship with them, they know us, and they've also put together a very good package for us. But however, it's up to the bank.
Yeah,
and
ultimately the people that are holding the whole thing up. But where Neal and I are at with this, like I said before, we're okay. Like I really believe, Neal and I believe, what's meant to be will be. Like honestly, I'm not stressed about it. I'm not anxious about it.
No.
If the bank were to say, you know what, we want this much more down, or this is how much more your payment's going to be, and we're not comfortable with it, you walk away.
Yeah.
We have something.
I mean,
we're great. We're fine. We're happy.
Our life is pretty much an open book.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if this meant a lot, and it does mean a lot to us, but if this is one of those things like I have to have it, we wouldn't talk about it with people until it happened.
Yeah.
But this
I'm
is one of
okay
those
coming
things.
back to you guys in a few days and saying, guess what, guys, that didn't happen.
It didn't work out.
But now it's got me thinking, if it doesn't work out, now I'm like, okay, so what I'm going to do is we need a bigger car this time around anyway for some stuff we have going on in our lives. But, at the end of the 3 years that lease is up and we're ready then, our feeling is, you know what, if this doesn't happen, we're going to wait 3 more years till our next lease is up. And we're talking fifth wheel now. Yeah. So if anything, if it doesn't happen, it's kind of shifted us into a different direction. Like I said, life, you have plans and then life gets in the way.
Totally gets in the way.
So, and I think it's for the good, like good things come along. And, just to kind of go over some of the specifications of the Grand Design Solitude model we're looking at. Well, it's a little bit taller than what we have now, but not much.
It's 1211.
1211.
We have 12.6.
The freshwater capacity is 54 gallon. What do we have now?
We have, I think it's 70 for the freshwater.
Okay, so that's a little less, but we have less people.
That's true,
along.
and we never use all the freshwater.
Again, that would matter more if you're dry camping, and
Correct.
we tend to not do that at this point in our lives. The gray water is 100 gallon.
We have
that now,
45.
right? Oh, 45, so that's even more.
So, honestly, when we went to Manhattan, we wouldn't have dumped.
We wouldn't have needed to.
Not at all.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had to dump.
Wastewater capacity is 50.
45.
It's about the same.
Yeah.
That's where the problem. But that's where the problem with the boys come along.
Yeah, that's it. There's 50 gallons.
Water heaters 12.
I think we have 8.
So that's a little
or
better.
10. We have 10.
They've got R values 45, awning length 20. What I loved about the awning, it's got the LED lights.
Yeah. Our awning is 14 feet right now, just so you know.
R value for the roof was 40. R value for the walls is 11. R value for the main floor is 45. The fireplace in there is 5,000 BTU, so that could probably heat the whole thing.
They actually were saying when we were there that you, what you can do is if you don't want to turn the furnace on, you can turn the fireplace on and then circulate the air with the fan.
They've got fans in there.
Yeah, but there's ceiling. I think there's a ceiling fan, but also circulate the ventilation.
Okay.
And that'll heat the whole place up.
The furnace, 35,000 BTUs. LP capacity, 60 pounds. Length is 40.
Motorhome is 40 pounds.
Length is 40, so that's a little longer than we're used to driving, but then we'll have the pickup. So, it just, I'm happy with what that presents for us going forward. I'm excited about that, but if it's not going to be this one, that's okay. It's obviously not meant to be, and it'll be something else, but we're just excited to share this with you guys.
And the total vehicle weight on this one is 16,000 pounds.
Right.
So we were told that, and really strongly recommended that a 350 or somewhere around that size in different models is really the one that you want to be able to pull the size of your RV.
I brought up some conversation. I put the pictures on Facebook and some of the thoughts. I was just sort of putting out there, hey guys, what do you think? Fifth wheel, what are your thoughts? I mean, so many positives.
Oh, it was great.
There was one person, of course, there's always a naysayer about a brand. Everybody's got a story.
Yeah, I had a friend who had it.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that.
We do. I mean, it happens. I mean,
absolutely.
look up Coachman. Like, everybody's got something.
Yeah.
But that's something you got to deal with. I mean, again, you're getting into a house on wheels. Stuff happens. But the biggest thing people brought up with the fifth wheels were the tires.
Yes. And so a lot of the tires that come with it, there's a rating system, and the tires come with it where typically are E-rated, and the person who mentioned on Facebook, thank you very much, mentioned that we should have G-rated. So I did talk to the dealer about it, and they're going to put us up in touch with the factory, so we're going to have a conversation with Grand Design.
Well, Steve had heard our guy over at Colton. He's like, I hear that. He goes, we went to a whole talk with them, and, he goes, I'm going to connect you with them. He goes, he couldn't remember offhand what the details were, but this company is very proud of the tires they have, and that is avoiding the issue of, obviously the issue is the blowout, and that would, God forbid, that happens.
Oh, that's awful.
So that, I do want to take him up on that and actually speak to the dealer or the
manufacturer
and say, talk to me about this, because it's my family and our safety and others around us as we're driving safety.
And then
we
one
don't
thing
need
too,
an overturned vehicle and a massive accident.
I don't think about stuff like that. That's scary.
I think about it all the time.
That's scary.
So, you just drive down the 95 and how many tire pieces do you see on the side of the road? Mostly 18-wheelers, but...
These are nitrogen filled too.
Right. So that might be what the difference is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
and again, guys, if you know anything about this, please email us.
I was doing a lot of research on tires because this is what I do. Point me in a direction and I'm going to look at it. And a lot of times with tires...
See, I think of the bigger picture than I send you on the little detail way.
And my details, this is what I do. So this in the tire pressure, a lot of times with blowouts, and this can happen with all of our units, right? And you guys, some of you have blowouts, and they're very, very scary. But it can be as simple as...
costly.
And very costly. It could be as simple as that the tire is either overweighted, overstressed, the belt could break, and typically it happens because of the inflation. They're either too overinflated, rarely, or they're underinflated. And as they're driving, they heat up and break down. So when you have a nitrogen filled, they think that this is what they say, is that they don't, the temperature stays the same. So there's no heating up that occurs. And so if you get your cars, like we try to get our cars filled with nitrogen. We live in a very cold area in the winter, and when you go out in the winter, sometimes the check tire light is on, and when they're nitrogen filled, there's no fluctuation in temperature.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect it. So maybe that's something we're going to find out from the
We're
manufacturer and let you guys know.
And again, we'd love to hear from you guys about that. So we have covered a lot of information.
Oh my God.
We definitely are going to get back to you guys. Follow us on Facebook. We'll give you all our contact one second, but we're going to keep with you on this, let you know what happens. We're excited.
And yet we're
but
chill.
Whatever, we're chill too, because if it's not meant to be, we're cool with that.
Totally.
So meanwhile, to follow our stuff and our adventures, we got some more fall trips coming up, lots going on. How do they get a hold of us now?
Well, you can always read Kathy's great blogs at www.rvglampingadventures.com. You can check us out on Facebook at RV Glamping Adventures. You can also find us on Twitter at RV Glampers, and also on Instagram at RV Glampers.
I'm so proud of you. I think you remember. Oh, YouTube. You forgot YouTube.
God. Okay. And
our
YouTube.
Our shows are on there. The radio shows are on there.
We got some videos.
Past videos. It goes back over the last just even year and a half or longer.
Yeah, some product
stuff
reviews
we've been up
and
to.
stuff.
So
I
think that's everything.
RV Glamping Adventures on YouTube.
RV Glamping Adventures on YouTube.
That is all.
So we will talk to you guys the next show and let you know what happens. And have a great week.
Have a great week. Oh, and happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day. Happy camping.
There you go. Take care.